So our speaker for this segment is going to be split into two between Earl and
Earl.
Leslie S. They will have 50 minutes to share on the topic, the code. Please be mindful of this time, which will be shown on the screen. Over to you.
My name is Leslie Strange. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I had a whole speech ready. I got a call from Ralph, and then I got a call from you guys, and they said, "Oh my God, where's Earl? Where's Earl?" Well, Earl, I've never officially met you, Earl, but I followed you everywhere. And I said, they asked me to step in for Earl. I said, they're gonna be expecting a plane and the whole story, and my story's just as dry. Maybe I should just lie and say I'm Earl. I'm the black female version of Earl, and I'll just tell your story, Earl, because I know the story's so damn good. And I'll just say I had a change, I transitioned, and I'm a girl, Earl. Anyway, that's my silly. My sobriety date is November 2nd, 1988, and it's an honor, no matter what. I had to jump up and get it together because you know how you guys are like Christmas presents. Speaking of holidays, happy holy day, happy holiday. I don't care what you celebrate. I don't care what you don't celebrate. But for you that are on here today and within the sound of my voice, happy Life Day. I woke up. I remember what I did last night. I am not sleeping under the stars. I have food. I have coffee. I have people that are texting me when I don't want to get any text. It's such an amazing, it's beyond what I couldn't even have painted a picture of what I want. This product. And let me go back. My sobriety date is November 2nd, 1988. I have 37 years of consistent, continual sobriety, one white chip, whole lot of mistakes, bunch of knee scrapes, I'm the jaywalker, but I'm in physical therapy. I'm in spiritual therapy. I run into stuff and I hit bottom after bottom because I believe I can control it and I can manage the outcome of my debacle, of my self-imposed crisis, of all the marriages and all the men and all the choices I've made, financial and not raising my children. These are in sobriety things. And I think I can fix it. And I think I can figure out a way without running it past somebody. But I'm so glad I got trained from Los Angeles, California. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Ralph, Reggie, Ron. They're my people. I don't know who else was on here early. Forgive me if I miss you. That's who I grew up with. Those are the ones that raised Leslie Strange. See, they saw me come in the room. Ralph's wife, not Ralph's wife, Carl's wife, Sean, and I had the same sponsor. See, you collect people on your journey here. Where you are desolate and isolated, Karen, or you were all by yourself, Chanel, and you didn't have nobody around. If you're like me, when I got toward the end, I was trying to smoke alone. But the bad thing about me, talk about blessings, I never learned how to cook the dough. I was a girl. I didn't want to burn my fingernails. See, I was the girl that would try to light it and make it all by myself, and I always had false nails. And you burnt your eyelashes, eyebrows, and burnt that one nail. Come on. You know how that nail catch on fire and be like, you don't need a torch. Just light up one of them synthetic nails and you can get it in. That's how I was raised. See, I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous at 28 years old. I am 65 years old, proud of it. And I want y'all to say, you don't even look 65. That's why I tell you guys that, because I have a motive. I want to feel like I still look young. But ask me to drop it like it's hot. Knees start to cracking, and it's like, no, this ain't working no more. So when I first got sober, it was because I hit a bottom. I'm from LA. I live in Atlanta now, but I'm from Los Angeles. I'm a recovering Catholic schoolgirl, knew all the to-dos and to-don'ts. I knew all of the pomp and circumstance. I knew what made my mother mad, and I knew what made my mother happy. Everything on the outside looked like I should have been a normal little spoiled brat. I was born on the west side of raised on the west side of Los Angeles in a nice house on Hauser Boulevard, if you know LA. And I went to Catholic school on the west side, Notre Dame Academy, all girls school. I was everything, every Christmas, never missed out on anything. But one thing that I came into the room with, I was resentful with my mom, and I was resentful with my mom because she broke up with my dad. Oh, it didn't matter that he was beating her up on a regular basis. See, because back in the 50s and 60s, you didn't get into domestic violence. It wasn't that word. That's his woman. He does what he wants. So I had that little insecurity. I'm the oldest. I was real thin. Couldn't grow a big afro. Loved the Jackson 5. Could never make myself do the dances like they did, although I could dance. But there was always that hole in my soul. Something was missing, and I never, no, Joey, I never realized what was missing. I just felt empty somewhere. So I was that little girl. We played real good in the play yard together, Louisa. We played real good in the playground. And all of a sudden, I want you to be my friend. Can you be my friend? And I even have that syndrome today. We have two good conversations. We talk about AA, and all of a sudden, I don't even know you, but I want you to be my friend. And I would buy and sell my friends. I share my clothes with you, share my lunch with you, share my candy with you, just so you be my friend. And then with the men, I want you to be my boyfriend or like me so much that you don't think of any other woman. So I share parts of my body with you, and I give out coochie coupons, and you get a coupon, and you get a coupon, and some of y'all got EBT cards. Just swipe it. I give it to you. Just be my boyfriend. There's that hole in my soul in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous talks about. I've tried to fill it with all kinds of things, even at 65 and 37. Tried to fill it with people, places, and things, hair and clothes and jewelry and stuff. And they last. Just like in the book, it talks about fears. Self-reliance is good as far as it goes, but it doesn't go far enough. And those things work in the beginning, but I need something that I can sustain and maintain that will stay with me. I didn't know that. See, what happens is when you put that hit on that pipe, or you gave me this fabulous pill, and it was called a Quaalude. They don't have those no more. Earl, they ain't got them no more. They got some other stuff make you talk to trees. We was taking Valiums and Quaaludes to come down off of that cocaine run for 2, 3, 4 days, and they don't have that anymore. So now I'm sitting up here looking at you guys and saying, okay, I ain't got no Quaaludes, or I got some Quaaludes and I've got some cocaine, and you gave me this phenomenal pill, and now ain't no more. And then I discovered, well, if ain't no more and I'm trying to come down and we ran out of dope, let me have some of that Old English. Let me have some of that pink champagne. Let me have some of that Schlitz malt liquor. The classy drinks. Let me have some of that wine that got that classy screw off top. Because I'm going to need something to bring me down from where I just went. I want to come back to now, but I don't want to come back to right now 100%. I want to come back to right now, but I still want to be like a little detached from now. See, when I got sober, my last run went a little like this. I had everything spread out on the table in a dirty, nasty motel on La Cienega in Los Angeles with one of my closest friends. I took a hit, I took a sip, I did the hokey pokey, and nothing happened. See, I am definitely that girl that the big book talks about. I like the effect produced by it. I like the effect produced by that first hit. And then I'm searching that first, a moment. And I'm doing it for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And I didn't get that effect that one particular time. Now, I don't know where the stars was at. I don't know where the moon was at. I don't know where the crystals were. I don't know what it was, but for some reason, I didn't get my effect. I thought it was some bunk dope. I didn't know what it was. Then I said, well, maybe I'm trying to do this too fast. Maybe I need to slow it down a little bit because, Carl, it's starting on Friday, so we got all weekend. Why am I rushing? I got me an 8-ball here. I had my own little pocket, and the role that I played was the innocent. I don't know how to do this. And you men, your egos, I love you. Oh, come on, let me help you out. I ended up with most of your dope because I played the role. And really, I didn't. I'll do this for you, young lady. You were the cocaine saviors, and you'd fix me up, and I didn't act a fool as long as I wanted to just smoke like a lady, as our friend Diane used to say. Just wanted to learn how to smoke like a lady. And I tried that hit, and I tried that drink one more time, and that drink and that hit did nothing. I didn't feel anything. But for a nanomicrosecond, something said, go home. Now, we can often say that could have been delusion, could have been the dope, could have been, the insanity of my disease. I don't know, but there was something a little different about this one. This right here was telling me like a warning sign. It was like a railroad crossing. Go home, go home. And for whatever reason, for the first time that I could recall at that time, I listened and I took action. So I made a third step right then. I made a decision, and then I acted on the decision. I asked him to call me a cab, and I went home. After going home and visiting a doctor, my mother took me to the next day because I admitted to her. First step came was when I admitted to her I've been doing drugs and I'm 80 pounds. Y'all throwing up this weight thing. I don't know if I appreciate that. And I was 80 pounds when I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. And Carl, I had braces on my teeth, but you may not remember that. Now I have no teeth. All that braces for nothing. Shut up, don't judge me. So So I immediately came into the rooms and I came in and I got one white chip. And friend, there's been so many discoveries and so many wonderful things that have happened. I was listening and I've been observing the White House. And I got a lot of calls. How are you? How are you? How am I? See, I lost my mother in 2017. Let me show you what the program does to help you with emotional sobriety, emotional maturity. After having cleaned house over and over again, getting the best sponsor in the history of America besides the one I have right now, Betty T, 26 and a half years I had. I followed her everywhere she went, I was there. I drove her to conferences in San Diego. We were like this. I listened to her. I sat at her feet practically and listened to her. And not only did I listen to her, I wasn't rebellious. I wasn't disobedient. I went on and did what she told me. Now, she would suggest things to me like, baby, you need to start finding a guy higher than a man's belt buckle. We need to go deeper in your sex conduct inventory. Baby, that's okay. You can go spend money on all those cars and all those things you're doing. But when you're done, come back to me. Baby, it's okay if you have an obsession to check his cell phone and check his messages and do all the things that you do. Just let me know when you're tired of doing it so that we can start recovering once you hit that bottom. She would say amazing things to me. And I could never come back to her and say, wait a minute, that's not in the book. What she was teaching me was spiritual law. They don't call it that. We call it the principles. But I like to change it today because I make it fit my size. I'm a size 7'8", so I'm going to make it fit my size. And I'm going to get these spiritual principles and call them spiritual laws. And if you break the spiritual law, it's not necessarily God that's punishing you. It's just the consequences. You run and jump off of a mountain trying to defy the law of gravity. There you go. You try to run out in traffic across the 405 freeway like the jaywalker on steroids. Consequences. The law of speed versus your speed, the car versus you. So there's certain spiritual things that she taught me. And in my teaching, I'm thinking if I rush and do this 4th through 9, I'm going to all of a sudden be okay. But it doesn't work like that. I'm finding out today that it's years and years of uncovering, discovering, discarding, falling on my face, embarrassing myself, embarrassing my family, embarrassing my husband, having an affair in the rooms, being egotistical in the rooms, getting money and being, making it make me who I am in the rooms, losses in the rooms, ignoring my mother when she got on my nerves and not calling her back. And I'm saying all this to bring it back to the White House. There was just 2 of us. So when my mother passed away in 2017, I did the best I could. Mama White was blessed to have 6 boys that was able to check on. I mean, I'd be over there. It'd be like Grand Central Station. One coming in the front door, one coming in the back door. We got a shift. Somebody's on the couch. It's like shifting, and we shifting, and that's how they roll. And it's just weird to me because it was only 2 of us. It's 50, 11 of them. Who is that? Whose nephew is that? And I'm sitting there like, this is like too much going on. But it's not, because there was a lady in that back room. Sometimes she'd have her door open. Sometimes she'd have her door closed. I want to make this part of my recovery story because I'm selfish and self-centered. She'd be back there clapping and hollering and be on Zoom, honey, on her Bible classes and her study classes. She says, hallelujah. And I'd go to her door and I'd stand up there because, see, I'm real demonstrative. See, they cool. I'm ignorant. I'll be in there jumping with her. And what I decided, and what they may or may not know, is I decided that all the things that I still may owe a little bit of fragmented amends to my mother, because I couldn't take care of my mother. I had a family, I had kids, I had a house, I had a car, I had a lot of stuff to do. I tried it. I couldn't bathe her and all that. And my sponsor, Betty T, who was an RN, helped me get her into a facility that could take care of her eventually. She wasn't able to age at home because she wasn't taking care of herself. I couldn't move her into my home because I couldn't lift her and bathe her and all those things. And everybody doesn't have the ability to make a living amends like Ralph and Ronnie and all of them did. So the best I did was I put her in a place. My brother was still in California, and I asked him to go visit mom. And when I came to LA to visit, I go visit my mom in this facility. And one day on Mother's Day, May 17th, 2017, when my brother and I are on a call, and they called to tell me my mother wouldn't wake up. I was so delusional and I was so out of place. I was like, what? Then my brother comes back on the line. He said, Leslie, they said mom won't wake up. Now, see, I'm 20 something years sober. I've raised two boys. I've had two sober husbands. I've bought four pieces of property. I've changed and I've grown and I'm in my 50s. And all of a sudden, my mama won't wake up. I'm in Atlanta. She's in Inglewood. Now, here's where all the steps and all the stuff comes. Here's where the litmus test is of how deep you've gone in on your self-examination, and you're making amends to people and forgiving those unforgivable. I had to learn to forgive my mother because she was so angry and so mean. But what I've come to understand today is that she was just scared for her kids. See, I didn't know till I was 10 years ago that all the sleepless nights she probably had, I never asked her. She never said it. But if I was her with either of my two boys and I ain't heard from them and I don't know where they're at, I know I'm not sleeping too. See, I forget when the shoe's on the other foot. So I used to go visit my mother and videotape her and hug her and all the right things that I could do. And when my mother passed away, all I could do was have my brother on the phone, and I three-wayed Ralph. We just started dating back then. I three-wayed Ralph. Well, I'm three-weighing him. He didn't know what to do. So I three-way, and he could hear me and my brother and I just come together and help. I had to grieve that. The grief wasn't so long-standing and so harsh and so hard, just like I don't grieve Mama White so much because I saw that woman's walk. 95 years, I don't grieve that. I think that's a great way. We all are walking each other home, Mike, Matt. Ain't we trying to walk our way home together? I grab your arm, you grab Carl's arm, Carl grabs Earl Hightower, and we trying to walk each other home. Grab an arm. Let's walk each other home. What better way to walk home than Peter O? The way he went, the love I see on Facebook. I didn't even know the man. What better way to walk home than all the love that you get, like Sarge, this guy, never met him, but I went and saw him. What better way to walk but the way that where Sandy Beach went? Sandy Beach went so cold-blooded, he in the middle of a book study that he did every day, every year, whatever, and leaned over and went to sleep. Said he even had to go out without do me in a bag. You know what I'm saying? That was amazing. So when I looked at Mama in that room, I'd go in there and I'd play with her. And I said, Mama, put on your wet lip boots and your mini skirt and your hot pants suit, and let's go to the club. There was an old black club back in the day called the 5-4 Ballroom. I said, come on, Mama, let's go on. We're going to go out and get some boys. And we're going to go down to the club. And she just looked at me. This is a Christian woman. I'm coming up here wild 4 months ago. And the thing that I did with her is what I made a mental amends. I said, God, for whatever residue or anything I left open with my mother, let me be of service to that lady. And now I wasn't there a whole lot, and I'm not there a whole long time, and I'm not there forever and ever, amen. But what I am able to do is tell Ralph, that's okay, you got a meeting. That's okay, you got to meet with your boss, or you got to do some work or whatever. I'll take Mama to get her nails done. I had the privilege to do that. She insisted on paying for my manicure and pedicure. Well, Mama, I don't. No. And then they greet her. They treat her like the queen of Siam, and we go in the nail place. I was able to do that. I was able, even 1 or 2 occasions, to take her to eat next door at Norm's. Just little stuff. I'd walk in there and dive on her bed because she was real careful about getting cooties. I'd dive on her bed and roll off on the floor, and then I'd walk out. Oh, that's what I did. If that's nothing but the best service I can give somebody is make them smile. And I was able to watch that woman. Because I'd have put all of them out. I'd have put them all out and beat them up and shot them. That woman was a cold piece. And I get to see how they walk in how they're gathering their funds together, how they're fully self-supporting where they're not asking outside contributions. I'll sit there and I'm going, they cold piece. I don't have a whole lot of words. Ain't nothing to say. I've learned how to shut up. I've learned how to keep my opinion to myself. Or if I have an opinion about something, I say, I offer for your consideration. I've learned how to be softer and gentler with my words and my language and my attitude. Now, I can get funky. Don't get it wrong. I ain't that holy. But you guys have taught me how to be a lady, how to walk regal, how to walk with style, grace, and dignity. My sponsor used to say that all the time, Carl. Not a lady of my style, grace, and dignity. You remember that, Carl? Oh, Carl got sponsored by my sponsor, too. She used to tear his ass up. I know. You know, Betty T was my lifeline. Back to the God of my lack of understanding. Yeah, I don't have a hard front, but then I start looking at it. I got so many chapters of things that I did. I kind of do have a tore up story, but we don't have enough time for that. But what I'm here to give you is hope. I'm here to let you know that the God of my understanding or lack thereof has shifted and changed so many times in 37 years. Now I understand today that I will never understand him. But those old ideas of what God done did to me, why did God do this to me? Why is God letting Gaza Strip get blown up? And why is God letting poor people die? And why is God? And if this is the thing I came up with in my quiet meditation, because I do that. That's just my sitting by myself and chewing on some principles or something I read or something I heard that Earl Hightower's tape or something that I went to sleep with. See, Earl, I slept with you, but you didn't get it. Anyway, I listened to it at night. Listen to it at night and go to sleep. Ralph and I do that all the time. We pick speakers and just go to sleep. And some of the things that I chewed on, and I said, wait a minute. If God loves us all, because he created us all, if he sees us walking toward the cliff, why didn't he just come down out the heavens and stop me? He saw me getting ready to kill myself with the pause, there's a straw, the Long Island iced tea, the mixture of drinks and pills and snorting and heroin and all that stuff. Why didn't you just come down from heaven, God, and say, baby, don't do that because you're going to kill yourself? I read somewhere the guy said, if God came down in your face and told you don't do that, you're such a disbeliever, you wouldn't even know it was him anyway. And when I started sitting back and I started thinking about God, and I just use God, so if you're offended, I'm not sorry, but that's what I call it. When I think about it, I said, well, God loves us all and he's forgiven us all. Why do we blame him? Why did I blame him for the way I was raised? Why did I blame him for the things that happened to me? Why did I blame him? And something suddenly came to me. And I said, God has 5 things, and I just mean you can add your own. He has 5 things that he delivers to each one of us. Each one of you have these 5 cards. You know how it is playing talk. You pass out 5 cards. He has 5 things. And I offer this for your consideration. God only passes out love, lots of voluntary effort, forgiveness, grace and mercy. And the biggest thing next to love is free will. He got 5 cards. You got 5 cards per person. That came to me and it stuck. All the stuff I blamed on God, God said, I don't even forget. I didn't do that. Why am I blamed for them? So I had to reestablish a brand new connection with something, some spirit that I can't, something in the 6th realm, something in the 6th sense, something that doesn't make sense. But spirituality is magic and mystical. It don't make sense. In fact, it's good that it don't make sense because I always need to know why. Why am I addict? Why wasn't I born with a lot of money? Why? It doesn't matter. The fact is you is or is you ain't an addict. Can you manage to control and take that first hit, drink, fix, or pill, and manage the rest of the weekend or your life? The other night, I have certain philosophies, and it's just mine. I have a thing that if anyone has passed in your life, that once you dream of them, I usually ask people, have you had a dream about that person? Yeah. Or I asked him, what's your most favorable memory of that person? And I believe that once you have a dream of someone who's passed, if you think about the dream as soon as you wake up, it's basically my belief is that they're telling you I'm fine. They're telling you that I'm up here and I'm okay. And within a week, I'm coming, thank you. And then within a week, Ralph said, I just saw Mama in the middle of the night. And I immediately asked him what she said. Because see, my belief is unbelievable. And he said, she said she was having a ball. See, I ain't told you that. He said, she said she's having a ball. And there was this big, big, big man. I mean, she just described the way he was telling me there's this real big man. And he just, I mean, he's huge. He's big. And I said to him, lights out, total silence. And I said, do you know who that was she was talking about, right? He didn't say anything. I said, that was God to her. Now I'm of the philosophy, what you believe is not true, and what you do believe is true. Well, why wouldn't it be? Her and her guy was like this. I think she's comfortable. I said, ask your other brothers, have they dreamt about her yet? And if they did, tell the story. They may or may not believe it. It may not be true. It may be some mythical something because I'm that kind of girl. I'm mythical and it's like, and intuitive. But then they offer me an intuitive idea. Then they tell me I'd have intuition, which is unexplainable. The spiritual transformation is unexplainable. But if you haven't had that and you don't have a relationship with God like you think I have or the rest of us have, by the time you get to the 12th step, Sandy Beach said you just gonna name it God anyway. So my question is to you, what is it you want? What is it you're willing to do to keep it and get it? If you don't know, hang with somebody until you do come to know. I thank you for inserting me into your business, Earl Hightower. Much respect to you, sir. Much respect to the crew. Much respect to the speakers. I've been on here since 4 a.m. Oh, I've been on here. My little screen has been on. I fall asleep. Come on. I've been here since 4 a.m. This is Eastern time and it's 7:01. I've been sitting in this marathon because it was too juicy and too good to pass up on. I love you guys more than bacon and thank you for letting me share.
Thank you so much for that, Leslie. I'm going to hand it over to Earl now. Earl?
Right here. Hi, everybody. My name's Earl. I'm an alcoholic and an addict. And I want to start by thanking Leslie. I needed to hear that. Thank you for that. I love you dearly. And I just want you to know that, you want to be the black female Earl Hightower. It's on. If I ever feel the need to change, I'm going to go to the doctors. I'm going to take a picture of you and say, make me that right there. All right. And add the dancing part. Right. I'm all good with that. Right. So just, keep an eye on things. You never know. Right. Anyway, I said, I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict. I'm going to get sober fast. My sobriety date's November 6th, 1980. So I'm 40. So if you're counting all up on your fingers, I'm 45 years sober. I'm 73 years old. I'm way past anything I ever thought I'd get to in both areas. So I just turned 45 and I didn't start drinking and using until I was 12. I waited as long as I possibly could. I had been restless, irritable, and discontented since beginning. And I come from an extremely violent home. My father was a straight up killer. And a wow man. I mean, and I woke up each morning knowing that finding my way to the kitchen, getting something to eat, and getting back to my room could go either way. You know what I mean? It was just up for grabs, man. From the minute I got up, you know what I mean? If I saw him and I just didn't say hello the right way, man, it was dukes up, and I left home when I was 12, went away to school, never went home on weekends, went home with friends. did all kinds of crazy stuff. I've been committed a couple of times. To be perfectly honest, I'm an escaped mental patient to this day. That never got resolved, but it's working out. It's all right. Um, and it was humble beginnings. A little weed, little red wine, cheap red wine, little red dog, little of that, 39-cent short dog or whatever it was, right? That just anything that could get me out of right here, right now. Because right here, right now, I'm self-centered and afraid. I'm comparing my insides to your outsides, and I'm losing every time. And I didn't know what it was, why I was just so scared all the time. And, and what fear did to me was it made me violent. That was the teachings of my father, when frightened, attack. And, nobody thinks, look at that scared little guy, and not when you're coming at him the way I was coming at him. Right. So I grew up with that kind of reputation. It's like, watch out for this little Hightower kid. He's a maniac. Right. And the truth was I was a frightened child that didn't know how to be in the world, that had not been taught how to be in a part of society. I was a feral kid, right? I just was wild. And that's how I came up, alone, just doing what I thought was the next best thing to do. I never waited for the second thought. I just went, man. And it escalated considerably. By the time I was 16, a guy said to me, "You're an alcoholic." And my response was, "What's your point? You want to call me an alcoholic? Go ahead. Addict? Fine. But if you think you telling me that is going to change how I live, you're out of your mind." Because that's how I get out the door in the morning. That's the only reason we're talking is because I'm high. If I'm not high, I'm busy working on getting high. I got no time to chat with anybody. And I never got good at the chit chat. Never. First time I went to an AA meeting, I saw people talking to each other. I just thought, this is not going to go well. These people are talking about their day. I don't care about your day. I don't care if you had a good day or a bad day. I was interested in a few very specific things. And if you didn't have those, next, move on. I don't want to get to know you. So anyway, 16 years drinking and using, plane crash, only member of my family to survive, came to, watched my mother, my little sister, Kimberly, and my father all bleed to death right in front of me. I've been shot at, stabbed twice. I've been arrested for mayhem. That's hard to do. I have been, when I came out of my last blackout, I was 215 pounds. I was yellow. I was dying of alcoholism. And I was having systemic organ failure, right? Systems were shutting down. Thyroid shut down, heart swollen, liver and kidneys, very angry. And the cops were there and a few other people. And I didn't know what had happened. Both my hands were broken, but that was no big thing. I had hair down to my elbows. And turns out that in that moment, I was 27 years old. I was dying of alcoholism. I had no family. They were dead. I had no friends. I had no place to live. They were deciding whether or not to charge me with the attempted murder of a guy named David Luboff. And I still don't know why that happened. That was in a blackout. And my life was just completely flatlined. I had burned my life to the ground. But something had happened in that blackout because it was over. It was done. And I raised up two broken hands and I said, "Please help me." And I was shocked to hear those words come out of my mouth. "Please help me." And there was somebody in the room that knew what that meant. And they said, he said it, get him. And they got me and they threw me in the back of an ambulance. And I went from there to a place that got my stomach pumped. They said, "Get him out of here. He's going to die." They took me to another place. I did 5 days of detox. They said, "He's going to die. Get him out of here." And they took me to a place called Long Beach General Hospital. And I spent 47 days in an old Army cot. There were 42 Army cots in this one room. There were 21 cots on each side of the room with sheets drawn between the cots. And how you kicked was called riding the cot. You just grabbed those rails and hung on for dear life. I bucked up out of that cot twice, through a couple of seizures, and they just wheel me in the hospital, shoot me full of anticonvulsants, and bring me back into the room. And I just go, thank you, and just ride, man, ride that cot. And after 47 days, Ray W. came into my room and he said, Earl, we love you, but it's been with that other joint, you've done 52 days of detox. We got to cut you loose. And I said, where should I go? And they said, you should go to the A&A, buddy, because if you don't go to the A&A, you're going to die. There was no CA then. It was AA or the morgue. And I just said, that seems a little extreme to me, but okay, right? And I went, my first meeting, it was a Friday night, stood in the back of the room, mad dogging everybody, right? Because I don't want to talk to you people. I just came here to find out what the hell's going on. And my journey began. And so much was happening that I did not understand. But what happened was that I came every day to the A&A. And I did my best to listen to what the man or woman up there was saying. And it changed my life. Slowly, I was able to hear more and more. Slowly, I was able to deny less and less. I'm an addict, man. If you tell me the truth, I hear it. I may not like it. I may tell you to go away or in a very colorful way. But I'll know you just told me the truth, right? And I stayed because I heard the truth. And they told me I came every day. I went to 7 to 9 meetings a week for over 5 years. I got a sponsor, and the sponsor said, you don't have to like what I tell you, and you don't have to think it's a good idea. You just have to do it. In other words, he would explain what needed to be done, and then I would do the footwork. I would go do it. And I just said, yes, sir. And the late, great Donald Madden saved my life because he didn't tell me about Alcoholics Anonymous. He showed me. He was my example. He was my living example of certain ideas, certain concepts, he gave me a design for living that came out of a book, right? And I got that book, and I got a buddy because Donald Madden told me, you see that guy over there? I go, yeah, that's Christopher. He's wearing 3 knives right now, in case you're interested. And he goes, yeah, I know. Go over there and talk to him. And I said, okay, because I never said no to that man. I said, okay. And I went over to talk to him. And the minute I walked up and said, hi, my name's Earl, he said, Donald sent you, didn't he? I said, yeah. But they told me we should talk. And I said, all right. So he said, okay, how was your day? I said, it was a day. And I said, how was yours? He goes, about the same. And I said, all right, maybe we stop there because that went pretty well. And he goes, good thinking, man. Talk to you soon. I said, soon. And I walked away thinking, that was great. That was the most in-depth conversation I'd had that didn't involve alcohol or some kind of nefarious activity in a long, long time. And he's my close friend to this day. He'll be 47 on March 5th. We got 6 other friends together, and we took them through the book the way we went through the book, it was tapes. There were cassettes back then. It was called The Original Joe and Charlie's The Big Book Comes Alive. And we went through those tapes with the big book, and it was hysterical because, we'd have the tape on and listening to them, and we'd be reading in the book, and every once in a while I'd hit pause. And I'd say, hey, you know that thing they say in the A&A? He goes, what? He goes, it's right here in this book. And they even go on to explain it a little better. This book is something. And it goes, yeah, let's go. All right, so we hit play. 2 minutes later, he hit pause. We go, you know that other thing they say? Here it is, right here in the book. It's right here. And I said, I got a feeling, I'm getting a sense that this book is a profound element of this process for us. And he said, me too. So we went through the 12 steps as outlined in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. We had a spiritual awakening as a result of doing that. And the awakening was we were no longer enslaved by the mental aspect of our disease. We found a way to stay stopped because this wasn't about stopping anymore. It was about how can I stay stopped? And the only way a guy like me is going to stay stopped is if I can get comfortable, clean, and sober. And the only way I've ever seen anybody like me get comfortable, clean, and sober is by working the 12 steps. That's what they're for. They're to relieve me of the obsession of the mind. Step one is, what's the problem? Lack of power. What's the solution? Step two, a power greater than myself. What's step three? Make a decision to do something about it, brother. Get in this, right? Take the action. It's a program of action, right? 4 and 5 is me. 6 and 7 is God. 8 and 9 is you. And that's the whole team, folks. There's nobody else to play with. It lets me start my life over from scratch. And guys, miserable, feral, violent, frightened losers like me don't get that chance. We don't get to take our life like an Etch-a-Sketch, and just shake it and have a clean slate and start to rebuild our lives from scratch. No questions asked. Just move forward. Come on. Just come on. Let's go. And so I did. And 4 and 5, I swallowed large chunks of truth about myself, right? You can't get where you're going unless you know where you're at to begin with, right? And so, and in 5, I read that before God to another human being. Got it all out. 6 and 7, I hooked it back up with God and asked God to remove the defects of character because I'll remove the wrong stuff. I can't believe how good my language is this evening. Must be Leslie's influence, because I know she was holding back big. Right? So I'm going to try to measure up. 8 and 9 is first time they really let me out of the house. I can do all that other stuff sitting on the couch, right? But 9, I got to leave the house. Now, me armed with little information, that's a dangerous proposition, right? So with my sponsor's direction, I took these 3x5 cards and I wrote down every amends I needed to make. And I just took the one off the top and I went and did it. I did them face to face, except when to do so would injure them or others. And those were all discussed with my sponsor. And the only ones I didn't do face to face were ones that he directed me not to. Those are the only ones. Everything else I did took me 6.5 years to make all the amends because of the financial aspect. That took me living in a one-room bootleg apartment over a garage for 6.5 years. All my money went to my amends because I asked myself, I'd been asked one question: how free do you want to be? And I said, I don't want there's a big buzz in this game, and I don't want the little buzz. I want the big buzz. I've seen it in the eyes of people I've come to care about. And I don't care about anybody. I don't love and be loved. I don't do that, right? Because it's too painful. It requires the ability of an entire human, and I am not one. I'm broken. I'm broken to the core. I'm beyond repair. I actually had a therapist say to me, I was beyond repair. Those exact words. That's why I use those words. And I remember thinking, I don't believe that's very therapeutic. You should maybe look into plumbing or electricity or something, lady. And I had horrible PTSD. I mean, I was a wreck walking around, but I had these tools, man, that I could use, and this sponsor that I could call, and these other guys that I knew when I said, I'm not doing well, they knew what I really meant. And they'd say, let's start walking, man. And we'd just walk, and they'd talk, and I'd listen. And then I needed to say something. We'd just stop and they'd listen to me, babble, just out of my mind. And slowly it got better. And I remember 2.5 years sober. I called my sponsor and I said, Donald, something has gone terribly wrong. And he said, oh, what is it? And I said, I love you. And he said, oh, I know. Click. And he hung up. And I was so grateful that he hung up on me because I didn't know what do you do after that? Hit him in the face? I don't know. And a life grew around me. And I got a job, and the job turned into a career, and I was making money. And I started making a lot of money. You know what I mean? And my life got better and better and better. And I had relationships. I was a serial monogamous man. I was dating a woman every 7 to 10 days. I had a new girlfriend, you know what I mean? But this is the early 80s in AA, and it's like we didn't have anything else to do. They took all our means of immediate gratification away from us, right? So we were dating, man, back in those days, right? And we got to this place in the book because I said I was going to talk about the code. Apparently, they told me that that's what I said, and I believe them. I don't remember any of that conversation, but say hello to 73, right? So I got There's a place in the book, and I'm going to read it to you. It's right after, it's at step 10. It's on page 84 in the big book, right? And the big book's been on fire for a while now, right? I mean, there's been a lot of writing, a lot of talking, a lot of going over stuff with friends. And it says in the middle of page 84, and I quote, "This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commenced this way of living as we cleaned up the past. We have entered the world of the spirit. We've had a spiritual experience at step 10. We're moving. 10, 11, and 12 are going to keep us in the game. 10, me, I'm going to continue to take personal inventory. 11, I'm going to seek God through prayer and meditation, asking for two things. And 12's third side of the triangle. Unity's the body. I bring it here to be with you because I can't do this alone. First word in the steps is we. Second side is unity. The body, the mind is the obsession, to be relieved of the obsession. That's happened. Third side of the triangle, service. I get out of myself and be a service, but my house has to be in order. That's in the first 9 steps. And I stay that way using the 10, 11, and 12. 12 says, having had that spiritual awakening, having been restored to sanity, soundness of mind, relieved of the obsession to drink and use, I can practice these principles and carry the message in all my affairs. Tells me to get to work, to get after it, man. Said, you've been coming to AA and taking, which is what you're supposed to do. Now, when you ring the bell, right, it happens. You've been restored. You can't walk around singing I'm broken. Go talk to somebody that's worth talking to. You gotta be in the game now. We've given you the tools. Your house is in order, but if you got to give it away to keep it, brother. So you got to get after this. You got to find somebody that needs what you got. Easiest thing in the world to do, right? It says you've entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. Now, hear what it said. We do this one day at a time, but it acknowledges right here on page 84 that this is for a lifetime. I stay sober one. Bill Wilson said, look, we all understand that the big goal here is to die sober, right? But we do that by focusing on one day at a time. I wake up every morning, do my meditation, say my serenity prayer, which gets me lined up. I know what my lane is to stay, through that prayer, right? And to let go of what I can't control, to focus on what I can, and to use these tools in how I try to affect the space I'm in, right? Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. And then it says, when these crop up. It doesn't say if they crop up. It says when these crop up. It's going to happen. I'm going to experience, doing the best I can, I will experience selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. The minute I recognize that's in play, I got to do something about it. And it says here, when these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. You can do it in the middle of a sentence. You can be talking to somebody and you've raised your voice. You can feel them kind of leaning back. Like, why is Earl yelling at me? And you can go, time out. I shouldn't be talking to you like this. I apologize. This is disrespectful. And I don't want to be disrespectful to you in any way. I'm really sorry I raised my voice. And I hope you can forgive me. Right? Try to get us both off the hook right away, right? When we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. And then it says it. Love and tolerance of others is our code. It doesn't say love and tolerance is our code. It says love and tolerance of others is our code. Now, love and tolerance, I got to tell you, for me, that was a tall order. Because already, before I got to that, I was living the life of a much better man than I actually am. Because the tools that I'd been given by this program and this fellowship that I could mingle about in. And try to help, try to be a part of, have commitments, say hello, recognize that in every moment there was an opportunity for me to get out of self and be of service to another human being. And that there was no better use of my time than to get out of self and be of service to another. And love and tolerance toward others, to others, is our code. That they put tolerance in there because they knew who they were talking to. And they said to others because they knew who they were. Every word counts. Love and tolerance, because I am intolerant of myself and I am intolerant of other people. It says love and tolerance to others. Oh, this isn't, you mean everything is not about me? No, everything is not about you, Earl. Look around, other people in the world, right? And your goal is to simply be loving and tolerant toward those others. It's your code. Live by that. Move forward into the world with that. I made a commitment with a buddy of mine. I reread that and I said, peace. I need to commit to being a peaceful man because I've been a violent man. I need to commit to peace, to no longer even consider. I'm holding a peace symbol that I wear around my neck, and have for many, 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 many years. It's now up to a few decades. I've had this around my neck, and I never take it. I take it off to clean it and put it back on. That's the only reason I take it off, and because I take this seriously. I see what's happening in the world. I pay attention to what's happening in the world. I'm not blind. Sometimes I have to get up when the TV's on and they're saying the things that they say. I have to get up and walk out of the room and walk around and pray to be released to the things that are filling me with such anger and vitriol, and thinking, I choose not to be a witness to such cruelty and lack of caring for the other. It just drives me nuts. My hands are shaking, and I think humility made it possible for me to learn the things that I just read to you. Humility is the willingness to learn, right? And that was at step 10 for me. And several times prior to that, this notion of humility, this willingness to learn, came up. And I had to learn that the best thing I can do is be an example of something that I believe to be honorable. What does it mean to be an honorable man, a just man? To me, it means that I will become strong enough as a man to be gentle with myself and gentle with other people. Because that takes strength in times like this, to be gentle and get called names and just smile and go, I really do hope you get it someday, right? That do not mistake kindness for weakness, because it's not. That I want to be a kind, loving, respectful man. I wish to have honor and integrity. You may hold me accountable for my words. Every time they say, may we record you, I say yes. Many have come to regret that. I am not among them. You can hold me to task. I'm not trying to find a way around anything. I'm trying to find a way right through the middle of it. And the best way I know is to not be a liar. And there have been a few people in my life I've stepped up to and said, look, the only reason it's my business is because you're saying it to me. And I just have to, are you lying to me? You're lying to me, aren't you? Because I was there and I saw what happened, and what you're saying isn't what happened. It just didn't go down like that. And you can say it 10,000 times, and that'll just be 10,000 lies. That's all it'll be. And you're not going to hypnotize me into, well, he said it so many times, I just assumed it was real. No, you're not a wizard. and and I'm not a child. I'm a free thinking man, and I'm not beholden to anyone, nor do I choose to belittle anyone. But I want to live in the truth. I want to speak in facts. And I want to lead a loving, meaningful life. I retired a year ago. Right? I had a very successful career. I was a very fortunate guy. I didn't realize for a long time that I've been fortunate since the day I showed up in life, in the world. They smacked me on the butt, and I was getting a shot at the good life. I made a lot. I got in the way of that a lot. But it waited for me, and that good life came, and I made the best of it. Out of respect, I made the best of what I was afforded. And I retired a year ago, and I've been with the same woman for 28 years. That's impossible for somebody like me. But we've been together 28 years, and I love her more now than I did the day I met her. We're great friends. We have a great relationship. And I quit my career and I gave it up. And within days, I looked at my wife and I said, I believe I'm going insane. And she said, what's going, what is it this time? And I said, well, I'm going insane currently because I don't have a plan. I don't know what to do. She goes, well, you got the foundation of your program that everything stands on. I go, right. And she said, and that, you need to find something you love. And I said, got it. So I went and I did a few hundred hours of research on the internet, and I went and I built a custom sniper rifle. It was good out to 1,000 yards. And I go, look at this. Isn't it beautiful? It's just the machinery and the way. And she goes, that's pretty. Maybe you should try a different rabbit hole to go down. And I said, I believe you're correct. And I put that thing in the closet and I never picked it up since. And I played the guitar for 30 years. And she said, you love music. Music has been a cornerstone of your life. Do some with music. I said, okay, I'm going to build a guitar. So I've got about 1,000 hours of study into being a luthier, and I'm on my third guitar right now, and I'm a guitar builder now. I build guitars. I've learned. I want to make music, and I want to understand every aspect of what makes the sound of music the sound of music. What is it about this note as opposed to that note that hits me right in the heart? And how can I string them together in a way that can make somebody else happy? So now my new career is music as a language of the heart. Music, right? I mean soul. I like blues, soul music, rock. I mean, yeah, you got to if it ain't no good, you can't testify to it. and I'm just a crazy little white boy from the west side of LA, and I'm living a big, wild life. A perfect example of that is I'm sitting on this thing called Zoom on a computer machine in my office, talking to a bunch of people who are pretending that they're sitting upright paying attention to me, which I want you to know I greatly appreciate. If you're new, bless you. Stay with us. Just stay with us. You don't have to know why. You don't have to think it's a good idea. You just got to do it, and it'll all change for you. Who you'll get introduced to in here is you, and you'll have the best life. The best life. It's the one you can't imagine yet, but you will. You just stay. You just stay here. We'll love you till you can love yourself. Peace to all of you. I'm out.